Could you describe for us, for anybody, layperson who doesn't who hasn't had these experiences, or who may be in their really early stages like I was before I met you, I wouldn't have had a clue what you did or how you did it, what exactly you do.
Um, First of all, it's South West Surrey Domestic Abuse Outreach Service that I actually cover, so it's Waverley and Guildford. Um, Domestic abuse is really somebody who's got more control over somebody else. It's not even if somebody's feeling unhappy, they don't like the sniping comments that their partner's making. They might be derogatory, calling them names, and then they'll be nice to them next day. They'll buy them flowers. I didn't mean it, and then the next day they'll kick off again. They always know what buttons to push with you, so he again will be nice one day, next day not. Take it out on the children, so you have to keep everything quiet. If you're feeling unhappy, talk to somebody. There's outreach services in every borough in England and Scotland, and I believe Wales as well. So there's always somebody to talk to. If you can't find the number, the CAB has it. The police have got it. They've got our cards as well. So it takes a lot of courage. GPs aren't as good as they are with referrals. I think we've had one in the whole spectrum of the time, and that's normally the first place that a woman will go is to the GP with depression or bruising, or they just need to talk to somebody. I know GPs only have 5 minutes per patient, but it could really save women a lot of heartache and pain in the long run if they just spent a bit longer with them and actually asked what is wrong. So that's what we do.
So that because I personally believe that the level of emotional abuse, would you agree with this, that the level of emotional abuse causes, I believe that the level of domestic emotional abuse that I sustained has caused my depression?
Absolutely.
Would you say that?
I would say 90% of women who go through domestic abuse are depressed.
Is that because they're constantly, it's just the put downs?
It normally goes on for a long time. It's not a short term. If you met somebody and they treated you like that, immediately you just turn around and walk in the opposite direction. So, they'll be nice to you to reel you in, and then when they think that they've got you where they want you, then they will start. So it's not immediate that person's going to be like that.
And this might sound like a really weird question, but for me personally, this is a really important question. Could you describe for me and anybody else that might not know what a normal relationship looks like, what you would describe as a normal relationship?
A normal relationship is where both people will talk to each other evenly and not shout and scream and throw things and demand that they have things. They will sit down, they will talk about it. Arguing is normal. You need to air things, but it has to be then sorted before you go to bed, and never end an evening on an argument. Kiss and make up afterwards, and if one person won't, then you might be having some trouble later on financially. If mum's at home looking after children and dad's working, there has to be an arrangement. And there's nothing worse than having to ask your partner for money, so allowance is good, and that's fair for the mum because she can't cope just on child benefit alone. She has to have some money coming in, and there's nothing worse than having to ask your other half for it. Financial, obviously sexual. If you don't want to have certain things in the bed with your partner, you don't have to. Rape is against the law with husbands and wives. That law has been changed. So he does not have rights to do whatever he wants to do to you. The woman can say no, and he will actually be charged with rape if he persists and does things that she doesn't want to have done. So it should be a loving, caring, nurturing sexual relationship between both people. Where are we? Yeah, emotional mind games is a big player on that one. Obviously physical, if somebody hits you, they will do it again.
When you see, this is the thing, isn't it? It's the mind games. The mind games are the real insidious ones, because I think personally for me, before you know it, you're in there. If it feels like home. I mean, the mind games are the things that you've said before in terms of somebody saying one thing and then doing something else, and then, you know.
And perhaps moving things, you might know you always hang your keys up in your kitchen, and then, suddenly they're in a cupboard. What's going on there? And he will move them.
Why would he do that?
Because he wants you to make out that you're nuts. And he might even wind you up to the stage where you stand there and you absolutely lose the plot. You've had enough. There might be people around and you just say, why do you do this? And then you go, see, this is what I have to put up with. And you think you're losing the plot and you're going absolutely nuts. And you're not. It's just he has got you to that stage where you feel like you are. And it's all very clever. They are very clever, the ones that do this.
So you end up looking like the problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, I think this is, for me anyway, I think this is also where a lot of women turn to alcohol.
A lot of women turn to alcohol. A lot of women turn to drugs. It is more alcohol because alcohol is readily available. You can get it from your milkman. You can get a big box of it for about £8 at your local supermarket. You can get it at petrol stations, bottle of wine. It's very accessible and it's reasonably cheap. And of course, vodka doesn't smell. So that's easily hidden in an orange juice. So a lot of women do turn to alcohol.
Just to numb the pain because they feel crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just to block out what's happening, which of course it doesn't because alcohol's a depressant, so then you have that to cope with. And you drink driving if you've got very kids around. Dangers in the kitchen, obviously, and looking after children while you're drunk.
One of the things that I really got from the counselling that I did was and after all the work that we'd done was to be shown where I can change my behaviour, because what happens with these men is that you end up responding and reacting to them, and I didn't have a clue how to take care of myself.
Well, also with the groups that we do as well, it's good because then the women find, actually, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one this is happening to, and it's a good support group where everybody can talk about their experiences and learn from them and move on.
Yeah, brilliant.